Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another episode of Music Biz Chat. And this is about the CD. It's about, is the CD coming back? Is it becoming more popular? It's interesting, there's been quite a few videos on this subject popping up everywhere. And there's been no real data coming from Billboard or Music Week magazine. That's normally what spurs me on to do this, but I've noticed lots of people doing it. Musicians are doing it, talking about CDs are now becoming more popular, and some YouTube personalities I really respect. Brendan has done one, Andy Edwards has done one, and some other people are doing them. Some people are saying three reasons why you should buy CDs, because in the future someone said it will be AI will be tweaking people's voices, so if you want the original recording you need to find the CD, etc. It has made me wonder about where this is heading, and I promote and buy all physical formats. When I say all, I'm not really that keen on cassettes, I have to say, but I do buy vinyl and CD, and I am buying more CDs than vinyl records. And for many people who watch this, when you hear these kind of stories, or the CDs coming back or whatever, it never went away, did it? You're the kind of person who just kept buying them. So to you, it's like you read this stuff and you think, what is this all about? Or some people see it as like evidence that it's going to come back like it was. So it's the glory days of going to record shops. There'll be racks and racks of CDs again. There might be racks and racks of CDs, but it isn't going to come back like it was. As I've said a lot on Now Spinning Magazine, and on the YouTube channel in particular, we are a niche. We're a lovely, beautiful niche. We're a community. I'm going to come back to that word. But we are niche. When you look at the volume of stuff in the album chart, the way the record companies look at these things, 85% of people stream. Sales for music is streaming. That is where everybody is. And I've been doing this now for about 3 years, I think, haven't I? And I think at one point, even I was really excited by seeing the physical part of that going from 12 to 15 to 18, and around Christmas time, 25%. The physical media was 25% of overall album sales in the UK. Not always. We might have Coldplay sell 225,000 CDs one week, but it's not usual. To get to number one in the album charts is about 20,000, 25,000. Sometimes it can be 15,000. And out of that, the albums that get to number one, the physical component is quite big. In fact, if I can find, what I'm looking for, if I just at the time of me doing this video, the new album by Pulp More as number one in the charts, and sales were 29,948. Could call that 30,000, I suppose. And the physical sales were 22,500. CD sales was 7,900, and vinyl was 15,000. So I'm saying that so that you know that vinyl is still, it's massive. So that it varies. I was quite interested actually that being Pulp, that it wasn't more CD, because their demographic would have grown up through the CD boom, and the fact that they're buying it on vinyl, the new album. I found that quite surprising, because I thought, like with Coldplay, that was a generation group of the CDs, so the CDs were heard. But Pulp, I thought that would be similar, but it's not. It's vinyl. But the other thing is, and I've said it myself, Generation Z, Gen Z, are getting more into physical music, and they're buying vinyl, and they're buying CD, and they're buying vinyl for those special releases, and they're buying CD for the more everyday releases, if that makes sense. But they are also mainly streaming. They love putting together playlists. And I'm going to bring something up on the screen now, which is interesting, because this is from an article from Sony, one of the biggest labels. Yeah, the people from us, the demographic that I talk to here, Inside Out Records, who are fantastic at doing vinyl with their polyline sleeves and CD and stuff, all that prog stuff. But Sony, they're one of the biggest labels in the world. And you can see from this chart here that when you look at the demographic, the percentage of people who stream, it's changing, isn't it? And I know that even from the people who watched this channel 3 years ago, you said, never stream me. And I know some of you are still there saying, I never stream. And I've always said, I've always streamed to discover. And then if I like it, I go and buy it. There's a lot of older people now streaming. And that is the fastest and biggest growth area on streaming is the 45 plus demographic. That demographic is streaming more than ever before. And in fact, it looks like the younger demographic is shrinking, but it isn't. They are still streaming just the same, but there's just more older demographics coming in and starting to stream more than buy physical music. But it's a mixture. It really is a mixture. But the other thing that's interesting, and this is really interesting and how difficult it is to get new music out there, is that Sony have quite rightly seen this, but they just see it as, I'm sure they just see it as money, perhaps, is that a few years ago, not that long ago, as you can see here on this chart, well, I'll just point this out actually, catalogue was 24%. i.e. stuff that's already out there, not new releases. So when you look at what's in the top 20 chart, all the stuff when you see rumours in there, Dark Side of the Moon, blah, 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 the best of Elton John, etc. It was about 24%. Now it's 50% of all the music listened to and sold is catalogue. That's what it's, back catalogue we would call it, wouldn't we, from the world we're from, back catalogue releases. But it's now just called catalogue because it's not back catalogue. What back catalogue used to mean, it's an old album. It's just people collecting it. What is old music now? What actually is classified as old music? Because if you've only just heard it and you're 18, it's new music, isn't it? If you've never heard it before, it's new music. It's new to you, isn't it? It's new to you as a person. And I think this also has a big impact. So isn't this a video about CDs? It is. But I just wanted to point that out because when we talk about CDs coming back, they are popular, they're not declining. But what's happening here is that it's a small slice of the cake. When 85%, almost 88% of the cake. I mean, we had a few years ago, looking at the stats, where physical media was about 10% of the overall cake. Is that, yes, they're in that 10%, but the streaming market is getting bigger and bigger. So in that 10-12%, CDs make up a huge chunk of that. But they can only, no matter how popular the CD becomes again, it's going to be part of a niche, of a small part. It's going to be, let's be fair, let's say it's 15%. It can only grow and still be part of that. We're not going to see it becoming CDs, people buy physical media and it's going to become 20, 30, 40. It's not, that isn't going to happen. And it hasn't happened for the last few years. But what's happened is what a lot of the doom kind of merchants sort of say is there'll be no physical media. No one's going to buy any vinyl. No one's going to buy any CD. Well, that's not going to happen. It's always going to sit there. So as big as streaming continues to grow, and it will, there is a buffer of physical media where people love this stuff. So CDs are coming back. What is driving this then? Is it the price of vinyl? Possibly, but no. I think it's the same thing that drives this Now Spinning magazine and other channels and websites like it. It's been part of a community. It's been part of something. It's sharing your love with like-minded people. And it's very hard to do that with a digital file. Incredibly difficult to do that, in fact. But with a CD, with it's a little CD box set, you can share it like people who belong to Now Spinning magazine on the Facebook group, in the WhatsApp group, across social media. You can talk to people about it, be excited about it. And of course, for young people, meeting in a lot of record shops now, which have somewhere where you can sit and have a cup of coffee and talk to people. And my eldest son, he has a album club, like a book club, where they all pick a certain album and they meet in the pub and talk about it. They all listen to it during the week and talk about it, but they listen to a physical record and then talk about it. It's community. It's being part of something and realizing you're not the only one that does that still. I've said this in other videos, that because that was a big thing for me, thinking as I went through the racks in, a lonely HMV a few years ago, thinking there's no one else doing this. There's no one else buying these CDs. I'm going up to the counter and, the shop just feels like it's about to close, and I'm thinking, can I buy this? And then when I get it home, I want to talk to someone else about it. I want to say, I bought this today and it's really good. And who do I talk to? The friends I used to meet in the pub, coming home from work on a Friday and buying something and going to the pub and saying, guess what I bought at the end of the week? They don't do that anymore, or they've moved away, or they're not around. But community now thrives online, thrives on YouTube channels and music websites and social media groups. And these people, wherever we are in the world, we find each other and we chat about it. And that is what has brought the CD back to life. It's been able to talk about that. And we talk about vinyl, obviously. But the CD it's more versatile. You just put it on and it sounds great. You don't have to do very much maintenance. You don't have to make sure that how many hours has your stylus been running for. You don't have to clean your records before or after. You just put them on. Sounds great. That's all you need to do. You just put it on and it'll sound just as good when you play it the 100th time. And the fact is that you're part of a community of like-minded people. And it's versatile. It's easy to store. And as I said, but I think it is that word I've just used over and over again, haven't I? Community. And I think physical media is part of that. Now, Spinning Magazine's success is because of community. And that's what makes it special, is that you learn and you explore. And I think more so than before, I think, if you think about it, well, in the 70s, a lot of music was out of print, and it was hard to listen to things. Now you can listen to everything. You can stream everything. And this will be another video. It'll be part of my musical and mental health one. You don't need to buy everything that's released. And so I'm going to do a video about, being overwhelmed and fear of missing out. But in this case, this is saying that, yes, CDs are popular. People are buying them from charity shops or Discogs or whatever. But it's then when you've done that, it's having someone to share it with. It doesn't necessarily mean you sit down and listen to it with someone else in the same room, but you listen to it and then you can talk to like-minded people, and then you share a picture of it and saying, look what I've got. I've got this, and I'm really pleased to have got it. And someone else says, oh, if you've got that, you want to get this as well. It's community. That, to me, is what is driving the sale and increased sales of CDs. And also, finally, bands themselves have realized that community is what makes people want to be part of something. They search for meaning. And now with the band, they're not distant, that you have to go through like a doctor's receptionist type person to get to the fan club. You can actually talk to the band or a band representative via social media. You can buy special editions of things on CD, very short runs, and feel part of something really special. And then there'll be perhaps a fan club version of the band themselves, a Facebook group that's for fans of that band, and the band pop in every so often, but each of the people in that group, that community, are sharing things they bought and are wanting. So if there's a series of 8 special editions, you want to get them all, and maybe you can swap if someone has got one that you haven't got. Community is what's driving the sale of physical media, and especially the upturn in CDs. Now the record labels will see this as uber fans, and there must be a way of somehow being part of that. That would be good if you can, but as long as you put or think through the eyes of a fan first. Don't look at it through what can we do with the least amount of effort to get the most amount of money. Because the people who are now in this niche, who buy physical media, who buy CDs and vinyl, Well, we're not OCD, but we care. We care about what we love. We care about this art, this unique, curated art collection that is ours, that represents our life, that represents the events in our life, that tells a story. When you walk into any of our homes and you look at our collections, that is a personally curated art collection that has followed us through our lives and has everything in it, from births, deaths, baptisms, whatever, holidays, ups and downs and lows and highs of our life. That is what's in it. And we want to keep building on that. And young music fans also want to have that connection of community. But streaming is also in that orbit, and always will be. And in fact, it's in the orbit of the older demographic as well now. So let me know what you think. Is the purchase of CDs and having people to share what you bought and what you collect and what you're missing in your collection part of it, part of the joy of being a music fan in 2025? Let me know what you think. It'd be great to hear from you. And remember, music is the healer and the doctor. So please subscribe, visit the website at nowspinning.co.uk, buy a t-shirt. And if you want to help a little bit more, you become a patron or a YouTube member, and you'll get an invite to the WhatsApp groups and the Facebook group. And you can come along to our own virtual pub, which meets up twice a month, called the Now Spinning Arms via Zoom. So take care, keep spinning those discs, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon.